Final curtain call. Chapter 1. A dream takes root. In a quaint village nestled in the heart of Europe, a young girl named Anna discovered her love for music. She spent her days humming melodies, exploring the surrounding meadows, and daydreaming about becoming a singer. Her voice, as sweet and soothing as a lark's song, brought joy to those who heard it. Anna's parents, recognizing her talent, supported her aspirations and encouraged her to sing at local events, where she captured the hearts of her fellow villagers. The village, a tight-knit community, was filled with warmth, laughter, and camaraderie. Anna's voice became a cherished part of the village's cultural fabric, her songs carrying the stories and traditions of her people. Anna's best friend, Lucy, shared her love for music, and the two spent hours singing and composing songs together. As they grew older, their bond strengthened, and they began to dream of one day leaving the village to share their music with the world. The world, however, was changing. News of war and unrest began to seep into the village, casting a shadow over their idyllic life. As tensions rose, the villagers found solace in Anna's music, seeking comfort and strength in her melodies. Her songs became a balm for their anxieties, a reminder of the beauty that still existed in the world. Lucy, worried for their future, urged Anna to keep singing, believing that her voice could bring hope even in the darkest of times. Anna, though frightened by the uncertainty of the world, resolved to continue sharing her music, her heart set on her dream of becoming a singer. As the world continued to change around them, Anna's resolve only grew stronger. With her family, friends, and the village behind her, she vowed to use her gift to uplift the spirits of her people, no matter what challenges lay ahead. The once peaceful village faced the mounting pressure of the encroaching war. But the power of music, friendship, and determination remained steadfast. Anna's journey was just beginning, and her voice would soon become a symbol of hope in a time of turmoil. Chapter 2. The World at War. The once distant whispers of war grew louder, and soon the harsh reality of the conflict reached the village. Soldiers marched through the cobblestone streets, their boots echoing against the walls of the cozy cottages. The invading army occupied the village, imposing their rules and restrictions on the once carefree inhabitants. Anna's world was turned upside down. Her family struggled to adapt to the new regime, and the villagers found themselves living in constant fear. The once vibrant marketplace became a desolate place, devoid of laughter and song. Despite the oppressive atmosphere, Anna refused to let the war extinguish her passion for music. She continued to practice her singing in secret, finding solace in the songs she and Lucy had composed together. Lucy, always supportive, encouraged Anna to hold onto her dreams, believing that their shared love of music could help them weather the storm. As the occupation wore on, Anna and Lucy began to perform their songs in secret gatherings, providing a much-needed respite for the villagers. The power of their music became a beacon of hope, giving the village the strength to carry on in the face of adversity. Yet danger was always lurking. The occupying soldiers, growing increasingly suspicious of any unauthorized gatherings, began to patrol the village more diligently. The risk of capture was ever present, and Anna knew that their secret performances could not continue indefinitely. As the war raged on, Anna's voice became a symbol of resistance and hope. Through her songs, she defied the darkness that had enveloped her village, determined to keep her dream alive even in the most desperate of times. Chapter 3: A Turning Point. The war dragged on, and the battlefront drew closer to the village. The air was heavy with tension, and the once peaceful community was on high alert. News of skirmishes and battles in neighboring towns reached Anna's ears, and she knew that it was only a matter of time before the conflict arrived at their doorstep. Despite the ever-present danger, Anna continued to sing, providing solace and hope to those who needed it most. Her voice was a light in the darkness, reminding the villagers of their strength and resilience in the face of adversity. One fateful day, a battle erupted on the outskirts of the village. The sound of gunfire and explosions echoed through the streets, and the villagers scrambled to find safety. Anna's family, along with Lucy and her family, took refuge in their cellar, praying that the violence would soon pass. As the battle raged above them, Anna clung to her love of music, using it to comfort her frightened friends and family. She sang softly in the dimly lit cellar, her voice providing a calming presence amidst the chaos. When the fighting had subsided, the villagers emerged from their hiding places to survey the damage. The once picturesque village had been reduced to rubble, and many homes had been destroyed. As Anna stood among the ruins, she knew that this was a turning point. She was no longer content to sing only in secret. She wanted to use her gift to inspire hope and healing for her people. It was in this moment that Anna made a life-changing decision. She would dedicate herself to becoming a singer, using her voice to help rebuild her village and bring joy to those who had lost so much. Filled with renewed determination, Anna began to perform more openly, using her talent to lift the spirits of the villagers as they worked to rebuild their homes and lives. Her music provided a much-needed distraction from the harsh reality of war, and her voice became a symbol of hope and unity. Chapter 4: The Final Performance. Months passed, and the war continued to ravage the land. The village struggled to rebuild, but each day brought new challenges and heartbreaks. Anna's singing had become a source of strength and inspiration for the villagers, a beacon of hope in their darkest hours. However, she knew that the conflict was far from over. One day, the villagers received word that enemy forces were advancing towards their village. Panic and fear spread like wildfire, and everyone was forced to make difficult decisions about their future. Anna's family decided to leave the village in search of a safer place to live, while Lucy and her family chose to stay behind and defend their home. Faced with the reality that she might never see Lucy or her beloved village again, Anna made a decision. She would give one final performance in the field where she had spent countless hours singing and dreaming of a brighter future. This performance would serve as a tribute to her village, her family, and the friendships she had forged. As the sun set on the eve of the impending battle, Anna stood in the field, her heart heavy with emotion. The villagers gathered around her, their faces etched with fear and sadness. With a deep breath, Anna began to sing, her voice soaring through the air, filling every corner of the village with a melody that spoke of love, loss, and hope. As her song reached its crescendo, the sky above them seemed to come alive with color, as if the heavens themselves were joining in her performance. The villagers watched in awe, their spirits lifted by the beauty and power of her voice. For a brief moment, the war and the devastation it had wrought seemed to fade away, leaving only the magic of her music. The performance concluded, and the villagers embraced one another, tears streaming down their faces. They knew that the days ahead would be filled with uncertainty and danger. But in that moment, they also knew that Anna's voice had given them something to hold on to hope. As the villagers dispersed to prepare for the battle, Anna stood in the field. Her heart swelling with love and gratitude for the people who had given her the courage to follow her dreams. Chapter 5: The Battle and a Miracle. The following morning, the village awoke to the sounds of distant gunfire and the thunder of approaching enemy forces. The villagers, led by Lucy's father, hastily prepared their defenses, using whatever makeshift weapons they could find. As the enemy forces drew nearer, the battle for the village began in earnest. Men, women, and even children bravely fought to protect their homes and loved ones, their courage fueled by the memory of Anna's performance. Despite being outgunned and outnumbered, the villagers fought valiantly, determined to defend their village to the last breath. As the battle raged on in the village, Anna knew that her time was running out. Her heart ached with the realization that she may never fulfill her dreams, but she refused to let the world silence her song. With a renewed sense of determination, Anna decided to sing one last time in the field, where she had always felt the most free and alive. The villagers, soldiers, and even the enemy forces could hear her voice rising above the sounds of war. As her melody wove a thread of hope and love through the chaos. Each note was a plea for peace, a call for a better tomorrow, and a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. Suddenly, a stray bullet whizzed through the air, narrowly missing Anna. She faltered but continued to sing, her heart pounding in her chest. Moments later, an artillery shell exploded nearby, sending a shockwave that knocked her to the ground. The world around her went silent, her body limp and lifeless. Miraculously, Anna's life was spared. The blast had not claimed her as its victim, and she lay there, unconscious but alive, in the field she loved so much. As if by divine intervention, she was discovered by Lucy, who had been searching for her amidst the chaos. With tears streaming down her face, Lucy cradled Anna in her arms and prayed for her friend's survival. When Anna finally awoke, she found herself in a makeshift hospital with Lucy by her side. Despite the pain and the horrors she had witnessed, Anna's spirit remained unbroken. She knew that she had been given a second chance at life, and she vowed to never let fear silence her song again. Chapter 6: A Dream Fulfilled. In the years that followed the battle, Anna's reputation as the singer with the miraculous voice grew. Word of her talent spread beyond the village, reaching the ears of influential figures in the music industry. One day, a talent scout arrived at the village, eager to hear Anna perform for himself. After witnessing her captivating performance, he offered her a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to share her gift with the world. With the blessings and support of her family and friends, Anna embarked on a journey that would take her far from the small village she called home. She studied under renowned vocal coaches and performed on stages across Europe. Her voice weaving a tapestry of hope and love that resonated with audiences everywhere. Throughout her travels, Anna never forgot the promise she made to Lucy. Years later, fate would bring the two friends together again, reuniting them in a heartwarming embrace that symbolized the enduring bonds of friendship and love. As Anna's career soared to new heights, she used her fame to help rebuild her village and other war-torn communities. She organized charity concerts and donated a portion of her earnings to fund schools, hospitals, and other essential services. Her efforts earned her recognition and admiration not just for her musical talent, but also for her compassionate heart. Anna's journey had begun in a small village, her voice a beacon of hope amidst the darkness of war. It had taken her to stages around the world, touching the lives of millions with her music. And in the end, it brought her back to the place where it all began, her heart filled with gratitude for the life she had been given and the dreams she had been able to fulfill. As the sun set on another day, Anna stood once more in the field where she had sung her final song before the battle. With a smile on her face, she raised her voice to the heavens one more time, a testament to the power of hope, love, and the human spirit.
The Brain Shuffle. Chapter 1: The Invitation. As I picked up the envelope from my doorstep, I couldn't help but feel a strange sense of anticipation. The cryptic invitation had finally arrived, confirming my entry into the mysterious high-stakes card game that I had only heard rumors about. My heart raced as I carefully opened the envelope and unfolded the letter inside. I could hardly believe this was happening to me. The invitation listed the strict rules and guidelines for participating in the game, each one meticulously detailed. My palms grew sweaty as I read through them, feeling both excitement and anxiety. This was the opportunity of a lifetime, and I was determined not to let it slip away. I tried to calm my nerves, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something big was about to happen. Alone in my apartment, I went over my strategy for the game. I knew that winning wouldn't be easy, but I had confidence in my skills and experience. I had spent countless hours honing my craft, and now it was time to put everything I had learned to the test. I whispered to myself, "You've got this, Logan. You were meant for this moment." As the day of the game approached, I found it difficult to focus on anything else. My thoughts constantly drifted to the upcoming challenge and the potential rewards that awaited me if I were to come out on top. The stakes were high, but I knew I had what it took to win. The night before the game, I lay in bed unable to sleep, my mind racing with thoughts of the competition. I knew I had to keep my focus and trust in my skills if I were to succeed. As I finally drifted off to sleep, I made a silent promise to myself I would give it my all, and I wouldn't let this opportunity pass me by. Chapter 2: The Preparation. The morning of the game arrived, and my heart pounded in my chest as I got ready. Every detail of my appearance had to be perfect, as I knew that my opponents would be scrutinizing me, looking for any sign of weakness. I meticulously selected my outfit, opting for a sleek suit that exuded confidence. I arrived at the luxurious venue a little early, wanting to familiarize myself with the environment and get a sense of the atmosphere. The room was filled with an electric energy, and I could feel the anticipation building as other players began to arrive. As I surveyed the room, I made a mental note of my competitors, trying to gauge their strengths and weaknesses. I knew that understanding their playing styles would be essential to my success, so I did my best to observe them discreetly. In the moments leading up to the game, I took some time to center myself and clear my mind. I knew that I had to stay calm and focused if I were to make the right decisions under pressure. I took several deep breaths and visualized myself winning the game, reinforcing my self-confidence and determination. As the dealer began to shuffle the deck, my heart raced with excitement. This was the moment I had been waiting for, and I was ready to prove myself. I glanced at my opponents one last time, mentally preparing for the battle ahead. With a quiet resolve, I whispered to myself, "This is it, Logan. It's time to show them what you're made of." Chapter 3: The First Moves. As the game commenced, I felt an intense focus settle over me. The room seemed to fade away, leaving only the table, my opponents, and the cards in front of me. I knew that every move I made would be critical, and I couldn't afford to let my guard down. The first few hands were relatively uneventful, with each player testing the waters and trying to assess their opponents. I played cautiously, not wanting to reveal too much of my strategy too soon. However, I kept a close eye on the other players, looking for patterns and tells that could give me an edge. As the game progressed, The stakes began to rise, and so did the tension at the table. I could feel the eyes of my competitors on me, sizing me up and trying to get a read on my playstyle. I did my best to keep my poker face intact, not giving away any hint of my intentions or the strength of my hand. During a particularly high-stakes round, I was dealt a promising hand. My heart raced as I considered my options, weighing the risks and rewards of each possible move. It was a pivotal moment in the game, and I knew that I had to make a bold play if I wanted to secure my position. With a surge of adrenaline, I decided to take a risk and raise the bet significantly. As I pushed my chips forward, I could see the surprise in my opponent's eyes. Some hesitated, clearly unsure of whether to call or fold. In that moment, I knew that my bold move had paid off. My confidence soared as several players reluctantly folded, leaving only a couple of challengers remaining. As I faced down my remaining opponents, I knew that the game had truly begun. I steeled myself for the intense mental battle that lay ahead, determined to emerge victorious. Chapter 4: The Turning Point. The atmosphere in the room grew more intense with each hand, as the stakes climbed higher and the field of players narrowed. I could feel the pressure mounting, but I also felt a surge of excitement. This was the kind of challenge I lived for, and I was determined to rise to the occasion. As the game continued, I became more adept at reading my opponents, anticipating their moves, and exploiting their weaknesses. I felt like I was in the zone, my senses heightened and my mind razor-sharp. But despite my success so far, I knew that one wrong move could still spell my downfall. I had to stay vigilant. Then, during a critical hand, I found myself facing a tough decision. I had been dealt a strong hand, but one of my remaining opponents, a seasoned player with a reputation for cunning, had just made a massive bet. It was clear that he was trying to intimidate me into folding, but I wasn't sure if it was a bluff or if he genuinely had a stronger hand. I took a deep breath and considered my options. The stakes were incredibly high, and folding would severely damage my chances of winning. But calling the bet and losing would be even more disastrous. I had to trust my instincts and make a decision. After a moment of intense deliberation, I decided to call the bet. My heart pounded in my chest as I pushed my chips forward and waited for my opponent's reaction. He hesitated, then slowly revealed his cards. To my relief, my hand was stronger, and I had won the round. I could see the frustration and disbelief on my opponent's face, but I refused to let it distract me. I knew that the game was far from over, and I had to maintain my focus if I wanted to claim victory. With renewed determination, I pressed on, ready for whatever challenges the game still had in store for me. Chapter 5: The Final Showdown. As the game progressed, the tension in the room reached a fever pitch. Only 2 players remained, myself and my most formidable opponent, a veteran card shark who had a knack for getting under my skin. I knew that if I wanted to win, I would have to remain focused and not let his mind games affect me. The final hand was dealt, and I couldn't believe my luck. I had been dealt an incredibly strong hand. But as I glanced over at my opponent, I could see the confidence in his eyes, and I knew that he must have had something equally impressive. This was going to be a battle of wits and nerve, and I had to be at the top of my game. I made my initial bet, trying to hide my excitement behind a calm and collected facade. My opponent raised the stakes, and I matched his bet. We continued in this dance, raising and calling each other's bets, until the pot had grown to an astronomical size. Finally, it was time for the last bet, the moment of truth. My opponent made one final, massive bet. His eyes locked on mine, daring me to call. I hesitated, my heart pounding in my chest as I weighed my options. I knew that this decision could make or break my victory, but I also knew that I couldn't let fear hold me back. With a deep breath, I pushed all my remaining chips into the pot and called his bet. The room held its collective breath as we both revealed our cards. I had a full house, a powerful hand by any measure, but my opponent's cards revealed a straight flush, one of the rarest and strongest hands in the game. For a moment, my heart sank, and I felt the weight of defeat bearing down on me. But then I remembered a crucial rule of the game, one that I had nearly forgotten in the heat of the moment: the wild card. In this particular game, there was one card that could stand in for any other, and I held it in my hand. With a surge of adrenaline, I realized that I could use the wild card to create a higher straight flush, securing my victory against all odds. The room erupted in cheers and applause as I claimed the pot, my heart still racing from the excitement of the final hand. I had triumphed against the odds, proving my skill and determination in the face of seemingly insurmountable challenges. The victory was sweet, but even sweeter was the knowledge that I had stayed true to myself and played my best game possible. Chapter 6: The Aftermath and New Beginnings. In the aftermath of my astonishing victory, the atmosphere in the room shifted from tense anticipation to sheer disbelief and excitement. My opponent, though visibly disappointed, offered a gracious handshake and congratulated me on my win. I thanked him, acknowledging that it had been a hard-fought and thrilling game, one that I would never forget. As the crowd dispersed and the adrenaline began to fade, I took a moment to reflect on the journey that had led me to this point. I had faced numerous challenges and setbacks, both in the card game and in life, but I had never given up. This victory was a testament to the power of perseverance and belief in oneself, even in the face of seemingly insurmountable odds. Word of my triumph spread quickly, and soon I found myself receiving invitations to participate in high-stakes games and tournaments around the world. It seemed that my days of obscurity were behind me, and I was ready to embrace this new chapter in my life with open arms. As I embarked on this exciting new journey, I carried with me the lessons I had learned from that fateful card game. I knew that success would not always come easily, but I also knew that with determination, skill, and a little bit of luck, I could overcome any challenge that came my way. In the years that followed, I continued to make a name for myself in the world of card games, earning the respect and admiration of fellow players and fans alike. But through it all, I never forgot the humble beginnings that had set me on this path. And I remained committed to always playing my best game and staying true to myself. And so, my life as a renowned card player began, full of thrilling victories, heart-wrenching defeats, and unforgettable experiences. But no matter what twists and turns my future held, I knew that I would always carry the memory of that one fateful game, the game that had changed my life and shown me the true power of perseverance and self-belief. The Alliance of Strangers. Chapter 1: Strangers in a Strange Land. I awoke to a blinding light piercing through my closed eyelids. My head throbbed as I tried to remember who I was and how I'd ended up in this desolate place. As my eyes adjusted to the brightness, I saw another figure lying on the ground a few feet away. It was a woman, and she was slowly regaining consciousness as well. We exchanged confused glances, both realizing that neither of us knew how we'd ended up on this unknown planet. The landscape around us was barren, with only a few scattered rocks and patches of dry vegetation. "Who are you?" I asked, my voice hoarse from disuse.
"I don't know,"
she replied, her own voice wavering.
"I can't remember anything. What about you? Do you know where we are?"
I shook my head, feeling the weight of our predicament. We were two strangers lost on an alien world with no idea how we'd gotten here or why. Our initial interactions were tense and guarded as we were unsure of each other's intentions.
"Why should I trust you?"
she asked, narrowing her eyes.
"For all I know, you could be the reason we're here."
I bristled at her accusation. "I'm just as clueless as you are," I retorted. "But if we want to survive, we'll have to work together whether we like it or not." Our clashing personalities only exacerbated the situation. I tended to be more cautious and analytical, while she was impulsive and creative. Despite our differences, we began to explore our surroundings, hoping to find some answers to our mysterious arrival on this planet. Chapter 2: Unlikely Allies. As we ventured further into the desolate landscape, our situation became increasingly desperate. With no food or water in sight, our bodies began to show the effects of dehydration and hunger. We realized that if we were going to survive, we would need to put aside our differences and work together. We spent hours searching for any source of sustenance. Our efforts finally paid off when we stumbled upon a hidden oasis, teeming with life. The sight of water and vegetation filled us with renewed hope and energy. "I'll admit, I didn't think we'd find anything out here," the woman said, a hint of gratitude in her voice. "Neither did I," I replied, acknowledging the progress we had made together. "But we're stronger as a team than we are on our own." We set up a makeshift camp near the oasis, pooling our resources and skills to create a safe haven. The woman demonstrated an uncanny ability to build shelter and devise tools, while I utilized my analytical skills to plan our daily activities and ration our supplies. Our combined efforts made our situation more bearable and fostered a sense of camaraderie between us. As we continued to explore the planet, we discovered remnants of an ancient civilization, including the remains of a village inhabited by a peculiar alien species. These findings raised even more questions about the world we found ourselves in and why we had been brought here. Chapter 3: Observing the Alien Tribe. Having forged a tentative alliance, we trudged across the desolate terrain of the unknown planet, feeling the weight of isolation bearing down on us. Despite our initial conflicts, we found ourselves relying on each other to survive in this strange, hostile environment. We shared our skills and knowledge, slowly adapting to our new reality and forming a bond built on trust and mutual dependence. One day, as we ventured further into the landscape in search of food and water, we stumbled upon an astonishing discovery: an alien Aboriginal tribe. Hidden within the shelter of a secluded valley, the tribe was a bewildering blend of the bizarre and the fascinating. We were awestruck, yet hesitant, unsure of how they would react to our presence. Rather than confronting the tribe directly, we chose to observe them from a secure distance. We were determined to learn more about their customs, behaviors, and way of life before attempting to make contact. Concealing ourselves behind the natural camouflage of the terrain, we spent several days scrutinizing their daily routines and social interactions. We watched as they foraged for sustenance, utilizing tools and techniques unfamiliar to us. We marveled at their unique methods of communication, piecing together fragments of understanding from the strange sounds and gestures they employed. We studied their social structure, attempting to discern the roles and hierarchies that governed their community. As we continued to gather and analyze information, we grew more confident in our ability to approach the tribe with respect for their customs and beliefs. We discussed potential strategies for making contact, weighing the risks and rewards of each option. We knew that establishing a relationship with the alien tribe could be the key to our survival on this inhospitable planet. But we also understood the importance of proceeding with caution. Chapter 4: Outsmarting the Attack. We had spent days observing the alien tribe, trying to decipher their customs and practices, and now felt ready to approach them. Cautiously, we entered their territory, attempting to communicate our peaceful intentions with gestures and words from their language that we had picked up during our observation. At first, the aliens seemed curious and cautious, but suddenly, their demeanor changed. A wave of hostility washed over their faces, and we realized we were in grave danger. "We mean you no harm," I said, trying to convey sincerity through my tone and body language. My partner chimed in,
"We only want to learn from you and share our knowledge."
Despite our best efforts, it appeared the tribe had mistaken our presence for an act of aggression. Their warriors launched an attack, brandishing their weapons and charging toward us. We knew we couldn't outrun them, so we had to rely on our wits to survive.
"Quick, let's climb up that tree,"
Partner shouted, pointing to a nearby tree with sturdy branches. We scrambled up the tree as fast as we could, narrowly escaping the aliens' grasp. The warriors tried to follow us, but they were unfamiliar with the concept of climbing trees and struggled to ascend. From our vantage point above, we noticed a rock formation that could provide cover and a natural barrier against the tribe's attacks. We took a deep breath, and together, we made a daring leap from the tree to the rocks, momentarily leaving the aliens in disarray. As we hid behind the rocks, I whispered to my partner, "We need to find a way to communicate with them, to show them we're not a threat." She nodded and started rummaging through our belongings, searching for something that might help us bridge the gap. My partner found the makeshift instrument we had crafted earlier from materials we had found on the planet. With a deep breath, she began to play a soothing melody, hoping it would resonate with the tribe and ease their fears. To our surprise, the music seemed to have an effect on the aliens. They paused their attack, their expressions shifting from aggression to curiosity. Seizing the opportunity, I stepped out from behind the rocks and approached the tribe cautiously, my hands raised in a sign of peace. "We are not your enemies," I said, hoping they would understand. Chapter 5: Building Bridges. As the soothing melody from the makeshift instrument continued to play, the atmosphere slowly transformed from hostility to tentative curiosity. The alien tribe's leader cautiously approached us, and we seized the opportunity to create a dialogue. "We are not like the ones who have harmed you," I assured him. "We come from a distant place, seeking knowledge and understanding." The leader seemed to consider our words, and after a long pause, he finally spoke, "We will give you a chance to prove yourselves." Over the next few weeks, we worked hard to build trust with the alien tribe. We shared our knowledge of agriculture, teaching them how to cultivate crops that would thrive in the harsh conditions of their planet. In turn, they taught us about their customs, traditions, and the natural resources available on the planet that we had not yet discovered. Our relationship with the tribe grew stronger each day. We exchanged stories of our respective worlds, marveling at the vast differences and yet finding common ground in our shared experiences. Both parties gradually let go of their initial mistrust, finding solace in the bond that was developing between us. As we continued to work alongside the tribe, our partnership flourished. United by our shared experiences and mutual respect, we began to feel as though we were part of a single, cohesive community. Chapter 6: Unveiling the Truth. The days went by, and our alliance with the alien tribe grew stronger. We continued to share our knowledge and resources, and it seemed that we were making genuine progress towards building a better future together. However, a lingering question still nagged at us: how could the tribal chief speak English? One evening, we decided to approach the chief and ask him directly. "How did you come to learn our language?" I inquired, genuinely curious. The chief hesitated for a moment before he responded. "The truth is, we've encountered humans before," he admitted, a solemn expression on his face. "Not long ago, a group of people who looked just like you arrived on our planet. They claimed to come in peace, but their true intentions were far from noble." As the chief recounted the story, we listened in shock and disbelief. These humans, who hailed from our very own Earth, had exploited the alien tribe, stealing their resources and even conducting experiments on the planet's ecosystem. Appalled by the revelation, we couldn't help but feel a sense of responsibility for the suffering caused by our fellow humans. "We're so sorry for what happened to your people," I said, my voice heavy with sorrow. "We will do everything we can to make amends and help you protect your world from further harm." The chief looked at us, his eyes filled with gratitude. "Your actions speak louder than your words," he said. "Together, we will build a better future for both our peoples." With this newfound knowledge, we were more determined than ever to right the wrongs inflicted upon the alien tribe. As we continued our work, we knew that we would face many challenges ahead. However, we were also certain that our bond, forged through adversity and trust, would help us to overcome any obstacle that lay in our path. Whimsical Wanderers. Chapter 1. An unlikely duo. Once upon a time, in a world filled with peculiar creatures, there was a walking tree named Arbor and a hippo named River. Arbor had a cozy little house perched on its head like a hat, and River proudly wore a set of crocodile bones as a hat. These two unusual beings became friends, bound by the unique headpieces crafted by the same talented hat seller. As Arbor swayed gently in the breeze, it thought,
"I really must thank that hat seller for this lovely home on my head. It's such a comfortable place to rest."
River, admiring its crocodile bone hat in the reflection of the water, agreed.
"Yes, my hat is quite the statement piece. The hat seller truly is a genius."
One day, while Arbor and River were enjoying a leisurely stroll by the riverbank, they overheard some creatures whispering about the hat seller. "Did you hear? The hat seller has been kidnapped by a villain who is jealous of their extraordinary talents." The news shook Arbor and River to their core. They knew they had to do something to save the hat seller who had given them so much joy.
"We must rescue the hat seller from the clutches of that villain,"
Arbor declared, its leaves rustling in determination. River nodded, water splashing as it reared its head.
"We're the perfect duo for this mission. Let's set out immediately."
And so, Arbor and River embarked on a journey to save the hat seller. their hearts filled with gratitude and their minds set on overcoming whatever challenges lay ahead. Chapter 2 – An Unexpected Encounter. Continuing their journey, Arbor and River made their way through the magical forest, following the path that they believed would lead them to the hat cellar. As they navigated the dense foliage, they relied on their wits and the guidance of the forest creatures they befriended along the way. One day, as they ventured deeper into the forest, they stumbled upon a curious sight. A mischievous goblin sitting on a rock, wearing an oversized hat that nearly covered its eyes. Intrigued by the unusual creature, Arbor and River approached cautiously, hoping to learn more about the goblin and its peculiar hat.
"Hello there,"
Arbor greeted the goblin, extending a branch in a friendly gesture.
"We couldn't help but notice your wonderful hat."
The goblin, surprised by their sudden appearance, quickly adjusted its hat and eyed them suspiciously. "Who are you?" it demanded.
"We're Arbor and River,"
River chimed in, taking a step forward. "We're on a quest to save our friend, the hat seller, from a villain who has captured him." The goblin's expression shifted from suspicion to curiosity. "A hat seller, you say? I happen to know a thing or two about hats myself." It then proceeded to share its story about how it came to possess the oversized hat that now adorned its head. As they conversed, Arbor and River found the goblin to be both witty and entertaining. They quickly realized that they shared a common goal to protect the world of hats and those who appreciate them. With a newfound sense of camaraderie, the trio decided to join forces. Combining their strengths and knowledge to rescue the hat seller and put a stop to the villain's nefarious plan. Chapter 3 – A Cunning Plan. Now a trio, Arbor, River, and the goblin, who introduced himself as Griswold, journeyed together. Growing more and more determined to save the hat seller with each passing day. They shared stories, riddles, and jokes, each of them contributing their unique perspectives to the mission at hand. As they neared the villain's lair, Arbor, River, and Griswold knew that they needed a plan to rescue the hat seller without alerting the villain to their presence. They decided to use their unique talents and backgrounds to their advantage. Arbor, being a walking tree, could blend into the surroundings and remain unnoticed. While River's knowledge of the terrain allowed them to navigate safely through any treacherous landscape. Griswold, being a cunning goblin, had a gift for trickery and deception. With their combined skills, they devised a plan to infiltrate the villain's lair. Arbor would use its natural camouflage to approach the lair and scout the area. River would find a hidden path that led to the hat seller's cell, and Griswold would create a diversion to draw the villain's attention away from their rescue attempt. As they set their plan in motion, each member of the trio focused on their respective tasks, trusting in the others to do their part. Arbor silently crept closer to the lair, its bark and leaves blending seamlessly with the surrounding trees. River, relying on her keen senses and knowledge of the land, searched for the hidden path that would lead them to the hat seller's cell. Meanwhile, Griswold set about creating an elaborate ruse that would send the villain on a wild goose chase. The three friends' unique abilities and unwavering trust in one another formed the perfect team, and they were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead in their quest to save the hat seller. Chapter 4: The Daring Rescue. With their plan set in motion, Arbor, River, and Griswold moved quickly and stealthily. Arbor's reconnaissance provided vital information about the villain's lair, including the location of the hat seller's cell and the guard's patrol patterns. River discovered a hidden passage leading directly to the hat seller's cell, thanks to her exceptional navigation skills. Meanwhile, Griswold's diversion worked better than they could have hoped, luring the villain and his henchmen away from the lair and buying the trio precious time. Taking advantage of the villain's absence, Arbor, River, and Griswold made their way through the hidden passage, hearts pounding with excitement and fear. They reached the hat seller's cell, and to their relief, found him unharmed, albeit weak and disoriented. River picked the lock on the cell door with ease, using a makeshift lockpick fashioned from one of Griswold's spare trinkets. As the door swung open, the hat seller looked up at his rescuers with gratitude and relief. With no time to waste, Arbor scooped up the hat seller and carried him on one of its sturdy branches, while River led the way back through the secret passage. Just as they were about to make their escape, they heard the villain's booming voice echoing through the lair. Realizing that Griswold's diversion had been discovered, the trio hastened their pace, knowing that they needed to get out before the villain and his henchmen returned. As they emerged from the hidden passage, Arbor, River, Griswold, and the hat seller sprinted towards the safety of the forest. With the villain's enraged shouts growing louder behind them, they knew they had narrowly escaped capture. As they disappeared into the forest, the four friends breathed a sigh of relief, knowing that their daring rescue mission had been a success, at least for now. Chapter 5: The Hat Seller's Dilemma. Arbor, River, and Griswold successfully infiltrated the villain's lair, stealthily making their way through the dark and twisting corridors. They found the hat seller locked away in a small cell, tired and frightened but unharmed. With great care, they freed him and began to make their escape. As they made their way back towards the entrance, the hat seller explained that the villain had captured him to force him to create a special hat. One that would amplify the wearer's power to control others. The hat seller had tried to resist, but the villain threatened to destroy his entire village if he didn't comply. Touched by the hat seller's courage and determination to protect his people, Arbor, River, and Griswold vowed to put an end to the villain's evil plan. Together, they devised a strategy to confront the villain and save not only the hat seller's village but also the world from the villain's malicious intentions. The friends moved forward with renewed determination, knowing that they would need to work together to outsmart the villain and save the day. Chapter 6: Unraveling the Truth. Arbor, River, Griswold, and the hat seller confronted the villain in the heart of his lair. The atmosphere was tense, but our heroes remained united and resolute. The villain sneered at them, confident in his ability to bend others to his will using the power-amplifying hat he now wore. As the battle commenced, Arbor used its strong branches to create a protective barrier around the group, warding off the villain's energy blasts. River charged at the villain with her immense speed, her thick hide deflecting the oncoming attacks. Griswold, utilizing his magical abilities, conjured a shimmering shield that absorbed the villain's powerful strikes. The villain, growing increasingly frustrated, unleashed a massive energy blast aimed at the hat seller. Arbor and Griswold combined their powers to hold back the devastating attack, giving the hat seller the opening he needed. Driven by his desire to protect his village, the hat seller revealed that he had secretly sabotaged the hat, making it vulnerable to destruction. Seizing the opportunity, River managed to snatch the hat from the villain's head and, with a powerful chomp of her mighty jaws, crushed it to pieces. The villain, realizing that his plan had been foiled, fell to his knees in defeat. With the villain subdued, Arbor, River, Griswold, and the hat seller were ready to celebrate their victory. But just as they prepared to leave the lair, the villain uttered a chilling prophecy. "You may have stopped me, but the real danger still lurks out there. The mother and son duo you befriended are the ones who will bring destruction upon this world." Confused and concerned, our heroes exchanged glances, wondering if there could be any truth to the villain's cryptic warning. They knew that they must stay vigilant and ready for whatever new challenges awaited them in the future. With a mix of joy and apprehension, they returned to the village, determined to face whatever dangers lay ahead, together.